A wonderful evening to all of you on behalf of Vicky. This is Sheba Nair, Council Member and your host for the evening. I welcome our President Dr. Devyani Rosario of Maharashtra Marketing Council to please address the event.
Good evening, everybody. It's wonderful to see so many faces here. I especially want to thank Mr. Soham Dadarkar, who volunteered to do this program for Vicky. And it's, it's so befitting because Vicky is wanting to do things for people to get them business oriented. And so I am really thankful to Mr. Soham and also thankful to Mr. Rishi, who will be joining us a little later. So with this, a warm welcome. Please, I would request you to be open to whatever ideas are happening, share your thoughts, and that will help us to do better. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Devyani. I would now like to invite Dr. Harshada Mule, our Vice President, to share a brief overview of Vicky and its activities.
Yeah, so very good evening. Very good evening to one and all, and thank you, Shiba, for the introduction. So again, I welcome everyone on behalf of Vicky, Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industries. This is a great initiative taken by Government of India under Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industries, which is providing an excellent platform to all the women across the countries to come out and identify their hidden potential. So Maharashtra Marketing Council, which is under Women Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industries, have taken this initiative, and we all belong to Maharashtra Marketing Council. So our sole objective and vision is to provide the platform to all to showcase their competencies and come out with the hidden potential. Although the platform is exclusively meant for the women, it is not definitely restricted only to them, because until men come and support them, it is not going to happen. So it's a joint collaboration, definitely we believe in. And our entire vision as well as mission is to provide this opportunity for each and everyone to come and participate and then explore the things, what they know, share their expertise, and make each and everyone aware about their own potential. With that, again, I welcome Mr. Soham, and we are grateful to the guest of the day for accepting our invite and coming and sharing here about the opportunities in travel and tourism, which is definitely booming back again after the pandemic, what we had been through. And there is a good response coming up in this sector. So they're here to talk about the same, and then I explain again, request audience to explore through them many things which are happening in this sector probably we aren't aware of. So again, we welcome each and everyone, and thank you very much. We can start.
Thank you very much, Dr. Harshada. I request all of you to please check on the chat box. We have put on our social media link so you could know more about us. Maharashtra Marketing Council has been conducting webinars. We had some webinars in the past where we had highlighted women from rural areas to showcase their products and to facilitate a channel through e-marketing for them. Couple of weeks back, we could present a webinar on emotional intelligence and how we could lead with a difference. This week, we present you another interesting topic, business opportunities in tourism industry. You will all benefit with having a better insight of travel and tourism industry, business opportunities, and ideas to venture into the business. We welcome our guest for the evening, Mr. Soham Dadarkar, a distinction holder from IATA and a topper in leadership and consumer behavior exam which was conducted by IIT Kharagpur. He teaches travel and tourism at leading institutes and also at Maharashtra Center for Entrepreneurship Development. Mr. Soham is a trainer, he's a facilitator, and is very passionate about stories and theater. He conducts his workshops on customer service, communication skills, and teamwork to several leading organizations from travel, banking, IT, FMCG, among others. Over to you, Mr. Soham.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Very good evening to all, and I'm very excited to be here. I'm very excited to talk about tourism, which all of us are extremely passionate about. The first thing that comes to our mind every year when we plan our yearly budgets or yearly activities is we look at the calendar and we look at some weekends, and which are those weekends that we can club together and go out for an outing, or we want to head to somewhere close by. Probably Mahabaleshwar is extremely packed, but we want to probably venture to some other state, or want to go overseas, do a quick trip to Dubai and come back. And we've always loved to travel. So humans are hardwired to travel. We are, in our brains, we have this innate quality of being an explorer. And I absolutely love talking about travel and have a lot of stories to share. And joining me today is my colleague Sangeeta Kalaskar. I'm going to do a little bit of introduction, and then we're going to get started with the topic. But before I do that, I'll just quickly share my presentation, and I'm going to keep this very interactive. I'm going to ask a lot of questions. I'm going to share some stories, probably ask you to find out some information also as you go through the presentation. Okay, so I'm infamous for troubling my participants. So because I believe I do workshops and not lectures, so I want participants to be more involved. And come on, it's a we're talking about travel industry, which is a happy industry, isn't it? We travel for being happy. We travel whenever we are happy. We want to explore things. So this is how we'll get started. I'll quickly share my presentation, and then we'll talk about it more in detail. Just take a couple of seconds for me to start. 1 second. Okay. I hope you're able to see the slide. Is that up? Okay, I think so. Yes, no? Are you able to see the slide?
Yes, it's visible, Mr. Soham.
Okay. Sorry, I have to ask these very basic questions.
No problem.
We're still using virtual mediums.
Yeah.
All right. So this is, I'm like I said, I'm very passionate about travel. I love to explore places. I've covered, traveled to more than 20 states within our country. Traveled to a couple of countries overseas, and this quality of constantly being on the move has come to me since childhood. Since my parents would love to travel. That's the time when we had paper tickets. If you remember the time when your airlines used to give you paper tickets which are handwritten. Since those days, to never ever imagine that I would end up working in this industry itself. So I end up very accidentally becoming a part of the travel industry, and it's thanks to my mother who said, Soham, if you like to travel, then why not think about the tourism industry? So this was in Pune, and we were having me and my mother were having this discussion in Deccan area, where we were out for some shopping, and she came across a board which says travel and tourism course, and she said, Soham, why don't you look out and try and see if you can make a career in this. And a couple of days later, I ended up getting my first job, which was in Wipro. And this happened to be an airline process. It's a United Airlines process, which is to make reservations for clients, for passengers. And I ended up working there for more than a year, actually learning how to make reservations for airlines, for air tickets, reissuing them, cancellation, and how do you handle passengers. So it was a very much a learning experience that I had. And then I moved to a company called as Amadeus, which is a software company. It's a travel technology company, which a lot of travel companies, airlines, hotels, they use this software. So this software basically is about booking. It's about making reservations. So those of us here, अगर आपको आपकी travel agency start करनी है, तो आपको एक basic booking tool चाहिए, जिससे आप ये booking कर सकते हो, जिससे आप passengers, guests के आप hotel book कर सकते हो, airline book कर सकते हो. This is one of the leading travel technology companies. I worked in this company for more than 8 years. And again, I ended up doing a lot of the courses which are related to travel, and thereby also I got to travel a lot within Maharashtra, especially because I was handling the Maharashtra region. So in this organization, I ended up becoming a learning and development professional. My job was to teach this software, so I ended up becoming a trainer at a very early age in my career. And now the situation is such that in 2013. I had quit this organization, and I was actually looking for a job somewhere else. And I ended up meeting a friend of mine who has his own travel company. and we were having this discussion on how his team members have difficulty in writing emails to passengers, making simple mistakes, common mistakes in an email. And that's where how I got the first assignment from a travel company. So travel has been a very integral part of my career, and it has shaped my career. So this was the first assignment by a travel company, and thereby from there onwards I went on to several other leading travel organizations, travel agencies. Then it could be large travel agencies wherein we ended up doing sessions for their staff, for their managers, and that's how it's now. We work majorly with travel associations. I end up doing sessions for them, and this is how the journey has been. But I am not a travel company. I am not a travel agent. I'm not a travel counselor. I am you can say I'm a tourism trainer. And I'm passionate about making people understand what travel is all about, and it is just beyond booking and ticketing, which so rightly Dr. Devani mentioned in one of her posts, that you need to look beyond ticketing, and that is so true, because when I got into tourism, many of my friends said, "तो अभी you will do bus bookings क्या, और या फिर अभी तू railway के ticket करेगा क्या?" So that's not the only tourism that we are talking about. That's not only travel that we are focusing on. There's a lot more which we have to explore, to work. One of the largest industry that employs people worldwide is tourism, and in India itself we have millions of people who work in this industry. Rather, I'll come to the point where I'm going to share some data points on how in our country how much tourism adds to the GDP is also. We'll talk about it. So today's session, like I said, I'm joined by my colleague Sangeeta Kalaskar, and I'm very happy that she's joined this webinar, this session. And she's senior to me. She's been in the industry for more than 25 years, and she has her own travel company called as Maitri Adventures. And if she's listening to me right now, I would request her only to introduce herself, because she does it very well. I believe if she can talk a little bit about her firm and the adventures that she takes is something really amazing to hear. So ma'am, Sangeeta ma'am, are you here? Can you?
Yes, hello. दिख रहा है क्या?
Yes, you are seen and audible.
Yes, okay. Myself Sangeeta Kalaskar, and obviously travel industry में बहुत कुछ चलता है, बहुत कुछ होता है, लेकिन वैसे डोमेस्टिक इंटरनेशनल जो बुकिंग वगैरह होता है वो तो मैं करती हूँ, लेकिन मेरे जो स्पेशल सब्जेक्ट है उसमें जो थोड़ा सा एजुकेशनल है, तो वो है जंगल ट्रैक्स यानी जंगल ट्रेल्स, एडवेंचर एंड हेरिटेज. ऑब्वियसली मैं इंडोलॉजिस्ट हूँ, तो भारत की जो बहुत से यानी देयर आर मेनी हेरिटेज साइट्स इन इंडिया, तो वहाँ का जो क्या दिखाना चाहिए क्या नहीं, क्योंकि ट्रैवल करते वक्त हम सब वही अटक जाते हैं कि ये क्या है, वो मालूम नहीं होता है लोगों को. तो ऑब्वियसली मैं वो काम करती हूँ, और मेनी ट्रेक्स, आई एम अ हार्डकोर ट्रेकर and doing my job still. Continue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sangeeta. One best thing about her is whenever you are traveling with her, she has an umpteen amount of stories to share about that place. She's a fantastic storyteller, and she'll also talk a little further ahead as we proceed. So I'm going to share a couple of slides over here. These are some places that I wish to show you, but I will also ask you a couple of questions around it. So let's have a interactive session. This is a place called as Gun Hill. Now, any idea where on earth is this, or where in India is this? Now, I'm sure you can zoom and read probably, but any idea? Have you heard about this place called as Gun Hill?
Is it in Mussoorie?
Mussoorie, yes. What is famous about this place? You can unmute and answer, or you can write in the chat window also. नाम गन हिल है, तो मतलब क्या है? What do you think is the story behind it?
It is on a hill, and there is a cannon sword placed on it.
Right.
It's a famous tourist spot.
Yes, it is. It is in Mussoorie. Normally take the cable car or the ropeway that is called to this place. It's on a height. It's just जैसे यहाँ पे महाबलेश्वर में पंचगनी में table land है, वैसे उस हिसाब से ही there's the kind of geographical place it is, wherein it's on a height and it's a hill, where in the British era they would place a gun over there and they would fire the gun at 12 o'clock. So the afternoon 12 time, the villagers would come to know when they would hear the fire or when they would hear the gun blasting off. So this was the way people would come to know about the time, because un dino mein to koi ghadi nahi thi, there were no watches. So that's how they would come to know, and they would blast this on a regular intervals. But one fine day it malfunctioned. The gun fired and the entire gun went and fell on a villager's house, and that's from there onwards they stopped firing this gun. And but they still ended up continuing with the name called as Gun Hill. So this is in Mussoorie. Anything famous about Mussoorie, especially to eat, especially food? Anybody? Any guess?
Momos.
Okay, well, they are found everywhere these days. Well, okay, let me tell you another trick that we all use in travel, and certainly you might be knowing this. Let us use our phones. Let us go to Google and try and find out food specialty in Mussoorie. And I'll give you a hint: omelette. The answer is omelette. So if you want to Google quickly yourself and tell me what is famous in Mussoorie, something to do with omelettes. I'm going to give you last 10 seconds to quickly find out. Anybody? Have you found out any connection with omelette, Mussoorie?
They do with chaat.
Sorry?
They do omelets with chaat, and you'll find it on the street.
I never had that, but no, I wouldn't mind having that, but not with chaat, certainly.
Yeah,
Never imagined.
It says cheese omelette.
I've seen there, like various charts they have with the eggs, either boiled eggs or scrambled egg, and that's a new thing.
Variety.
Yes.
So if you Google, okay, I will not give you the exact answer, but I will tell you. I'll give you a hint. Why don't you Google India's famous omelette? India's famous omelette, and you probably might get an answer to it. And while you search this,
It's a cheese omelette.
yeah, it's one of the famous omelettes that you get over there. It's very famous. There's a restaurant over there that is one of the famous restaurants.
Lovely omelette.
Lovely omelette.
So
Yes, and apparently they also have chocolate omelettes.
Oh, wow, I should have tried that. I missed out on my trip, but I can't imagine having chocolate and omelette together for some reasons. But nevertheless, this is something about food speciality of that place. Another very interesting place, which is related to Mussoorie, is there's a place called in the name of George Everest. So George Everest House is in Mussoorie. It's a place now they have kind of again preserved and conserved, and the tourism department has worked on it. Now George Everest, the Mount Everest, ये जो नाम Mount Everest को मिला है, Everest is by the name George Everest, who was the first surveyor of India. So he used to do the surveying part, and that's how the name came in. And his place where he used to stay is now converted into kind of a museum. This is one of the very recent activities that have happened over there. There's another very famous personality with regards to children's storybooks or children's books, who stays in Mussoorie. Yes. And I was lucky enough to get a book autographed by him, and one of the the way he writes about Mussoorie and the way he presents it is absolutely brilliant. I love reading his book. So in a tour itself, in one trip, you can do so many things. You're not just food, not just sightseeing in particular, but you can find out so many interesting things about that place. Okay, moving on. This is another picture that you see on the screen, which is a lot of flowers, plants, trees, and made into some really beautiful things, they've made into. Any idea where this place is?
Hanging Gardens?
Nope.
Sir, it's in India or outside India?
This is overseas. This is out of India.
Overseas. Dubai.
Dubai?
Yeah,
Yes.
Miracle
Dubai.
Garden.
Miracle Garden.
Miracle Garden. Is this open throughout the year? Is this open throughout the year? It is operational in specific months. And to reach Miracle Garden, you can take the metro, the Dubai metro, go to the last station, get down, and take the bus, which takes you to the Miracle Garden. And there's a good connectivity, good transport, which is available. In fact, in Dubai, I've traveled to Dubai, and I have never ever took a taxi or a cab. I have traveled Dubai on metro itself, and so using metro, so we can certainly use public transport to get a feel, to get the flavor of the, to understand how the city functions. But this is a very interesting place that I've been to. It's Miracle Garden, where the entire garden has beautiful flowers, and how they've made into certain decorative items and things like that. Very similar, though, on similar lines, you also have a place in Nashik in Maharashtra, where they've started this. I haven't been to Nashik's garden, but I've heard that, on very similar lines, they have now started some activities in Maharashtra itself. Okay, now this picture is not very clear though on the screen. This is one of the places in Konkan. This has something to do with turtles. So any idea what is this? Something to do with turtles. Something. Yes, Velas. So Velas is a place, and now there are many such turtle festivals that are held in Konkan, and not many of them know. Some of you might be already aware of this, that normally from February till May is the season where they have this turtle festivals. And I will not be able to talk about in depth about this, because there's a good enough study that needs to be done, especially on conservation of turtles and all. But just to give you a brief idea what exactly happens over here, the turtle lays their eggs on the seashore. So that is how they do it. And then the villagers over there found out that these eggs were normally destroyed because of humans. People would end up working in those at the seashore, or किसी का पैर उस पे लग गया, or या फिर animals would eat them up. So they decided to conserve. This conservation started. And then it became a turtle festival, where you have this olive ridley turtles species. The turtle hatches, the baby turtle comes out of the egg, and then they go back into the sea. And not just one or two, but there are hundreds of them that you can at a time see, these baby turtles going back into the sea. So I ended up reading about this, and I ended up telling a travel company a couple of years ago that this is a very interesting thing which is happening in Konkan, and why don't you think about taking parents and their kids to this place, so that they will learn, because normally they would end up reading in the books. They will get to see this first-hand experience. And these things normally happen overseas, in foreign countries also, some places that you get to see such kind of an activity. And a couple of days later, the travel agency calls me and saying, "Sir, would you like to join our group? We are going on this Monday. We are planning a tour. Do join us." So it just started off so well. And they've started running these batches, and there is homestay. There are the villagers that interact with you. They tell you they give you the history and science and everything about this place. There are a couple of forts and places to eat around. So it's become a very interesting place to visit. There are lots of places that I could talk about, but here are a couple of them quick for you to Google and check a little later. This first one is Mathur Aqueduct, highest and the longest aqueduct in South Asia, which is located in Tamil Nadu. Which is aqueduct is a pipeline. पानी की जो pipeline होती है, ये normally ground level पे जाती है. So whenever you travel, you see those big pipelines which run on the ground. But this pipeline runs on a pillar. So there are pillars over here. And on the pillar, the pipeline is placed. It's an open pipeline, and you can actually see the water passing from right above you. And this is like huge. I mean, it's very tall, and it's one of the longest aqueducts. So you can certainly check out their videos on YouTube. The next place is Pompeii, which is in Italy. You might be aware of this. This is a very famous site where people go and check out how a volcanic eruption of Mount Vesuvius destroyed the entire city, in no time. And the remains of the city now you can go and go there as a visitor and see how this entire episode that took place years ago, rather ages ago. The third place is Akkalkot, which is in Maharashtra. Many of you might be aware of this place. This place is where you have Swami Samartha Maharansa Math hai. This is a place where many people go for religious reasons. And there is an armory museum. So this is one of the Maharajas over there who has created this museum. And there, it's one of the largest museum for arms. Like you have several pieces of swords, machine gun, purani machine gun hai, then there's a cannon machine and whatever that the machinery or the arms and ammunition that was used during wartime. This king over there has kept it as a museum, has put it in a museum. It's a very beautiful, very interesting, and some extremely unimaginable kind of arms that you get to see over there. And nobody knew about this. When I went with a tour, I found out this place and I took them to saying this, okay, you come here normally, but let's go and check it out. So you would end up finding something very interesting. Before I move to the to the next slide, I'm going to quickly ask you to Google something and tell me, this is the last time I'm going to trouble you. The place is Turtuk, Turtuk. If you can find out what is so interesting about this place, it's again turning into a very famous tourist place. Turtuk.
Yes.
Turtuk.
It's the last village on LOC.
It's the last village on the line of control. It's the last Indian village on the border. What is famous about this? Because I'm sure there is something interesting history to it. Anybody?
It is the actually Pakistani village. After 71 war, India has took in her territory.
Yes. So it is the village where till 1971 this village was in Pakistan, and after the war, overnight this village came into India, into the Indian soil, Indian territory. So there were people who were first had you can say the citizenship of Pakistan, and now because the war was fought and now it has come into India, so there was a change of nationality. And again, it's a very beautiful place. One of recently a YouTuber had been over there, and I really found it extremely amazing. So it has a lot of history to it. All right. So before we start talking about the business opportunities that are available in travel, why would we essentially travel? Any reason why we travel? Why do you travel? Let me put it this way. आप travel क्यों करते हो?
Because we like to explore the new places and sometimes relax ourselves from our busy life.
Right. Explore and relaxation.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else? Fun, recreation and adventure. Certainly. Any other?
We travel for official purposes also to abroad, and then take advantage of those travels to see the places nearby. No, that also is.
Yeah, I like the way you've put it. We travel for official purposes and then take an advantage. So yeah,
there are Saturdays and Sundays. Smart people manage the travels in such a way that one meeting is on Friday, other meeting is on Monday. So you have Saturday, Sunday in between. So what do you do? You go to Florence for some meeting, then go to Pompeii and see the city, beautiful city. I incidentally saw it 2 years back.
Fantastic. So we do travel for work purpose. We travel for recreation. One of the major reasons that I believe, or could be the foundation, the crux of the matter that I would call it, is diversity. We travel to experience and explore the diversity that prevails around us. Now, why am I using the word diversity over here? Is because one, I believe in diversity and inclusion, and two is I am living a life in my city, which I have a regular schedule. Like every day I have to get up, go to work, come back, and whatever is happening in my life is happening in this particular city in Pune. Now, however, if I want to, the reason why I want to move to another city is to I want to experience the weather over there, because I want it very different than Pune. So that is one of the major reasons that humans travel is for weather. Years ago, humans would travel for food. to seek food, shelter, to trade for trade purpose. But now humans travel is one is because I want a different weather altogether. I want a change. And then the culture, the food, the sightseeing, things which are not there here in Pune, and I want to go and experience over there. So if I want to go to Hyderabad, I want to try the local biryani over there. So this is something which I may not get over here, and I want to experience the diversity that prevails in that particular region. So this is one of the major reasons. And in India itself, if you look at, we've got every 50 kilometers, more or less, we have slight changes in the food, the language, the dialect, slight changes in the geography of the places around us. And this is what I want every one of us to explore, to experience that. Normally, so this is a question. In India, how many deserts are there? Where all deserts are there? Anybody?
Mainly in Rajasthan.
In Rajasthan. But do you know there is a desert in Ladakh?
Even in Gujarat, we have desert.
Yes, Gujarat, Rajasthan. But is there a desert in Ladakh?
Yes.
Nubra Valley.
Oh, yes.
So please again Google cold desert. It's called as a cold desert. And I'm not going to deviate from my topic, but certainly there are a lot of some changes, or a lot of such examples rather, that I could share as we talk. But this is one of the main reasons, is the diversity, as that's something that is the main reason that I would want to travel. So when we look at why people want or should make a career in tourism, this is one of the most dynamic industries that we have. Every day it's constantly changing. It's every second there's something new that comes up, and there's a lot of learning that takes place. I have never ever found an individual from the travel industry who can stand up and tell me, I know everything about travel and I'm a super expert in this industry, because every day there's something new that's happening. So it's very difficult to cope up with the changes that are around us. So people focus on particular destinations, or they focus on domestic, some may focus on international, some may do specific kind of tours only. So it's a vast and a huge industry that is there. And no wonder we earn a lot of foreign exchange because of this industry. So in fact, I was reading data where more than close to 5% of our GDP is contribution is done by the tourism industry. And before pandemic, there were more than around 15 million tourist arrivals in India. This is way before pandemic. Okay, I'm talking about. So we see a lot of people, part of this industry that is being employed, and a lot of people that travel, that is the customers. So it's a big industry, and a lot of opportunities for business and job seekers as well. So either many of us might be directly or indirectly, in some ways or the other, are associated with this industry. So again, you might have heard that because of the pandemic, the entire industry suffered. And it's not just our travel industry, but it is also several other industries that had to bear the brunt of what happened in the last 2 years. But this is the first industry who got hit massively, but it took also time to recover. But when it recovered, you must have remember that there were several destinations that were full, that were packed. Like you had Kashmir, which was full, you had Kerala, which was full, you had weekend destinations like Mahabaleshwar, Panchgani, that were completely packed, and the bookings on the hotels were completely booked. So people want to travel, and they cannot imagine themselves in one place for a very long time. They want to continuously be on the move and keep doing some new activities. So what do we look at employment, and how do we look at enterprise? So more than the employment part, I will talk about the enterprise part. They are interlinked, I believe. But still, since we are talking about the business opportunities over here in tourism, one of the most, I wouldn't say easiest, but the most first step into getting into the industry is starting your own travel firm. And this is how many people have done this. And when I used to work, there were close to around 1,000 travel companies in Pune around that time. And now the number has also increased. We have large firms, we have small firms, we have students, my students, some of them are operating from home also. They started their own travel company. All they need is a good laptop connectivity, social media presence chahiye, and then they start. But they have a lot of domain knowledge. They have a lot of destination knowledge. So that's one thing that you can think of starting your own travel firm. The second is becoming a tour operator, which is conducting tours actually. That is, you take your groups. And this is another step towards becoming an entrepreneur. Many of us have our own groups network. Like in your society itself, you have your own society WhatsApp group hoga, ya fir, a particular group of senior citizen, particular group of gym going members, and things like that. So you have your groups, and these groups you can start off with by arranging tours for them. You get a little confident, you get a little idea, experience, and you can actually think of moving into becoming a tour operator. This is a very, I won't say it's an easy task. This certainly requires a lot of dedication, hard work, and experience in becoming a tour operator. The third point is business development. Now, there are a lot of companies, or I would say hotel chains and tourism boards within our country and overseas who want to hire or want to appoint business development people in other cities. For example, there might be a chain of hotels in Kerala who want to hire a business development person in Mumbai or in Pune, and that person will promote the business, or that person will act as a point of contact for them. So we call it as a authorized reservation center or authorized ticketing agent. So there are different names given to it, but essentially you become the point of contact for any business that arises out of that city, which will support the hotel chain which is down south, and then you can have the the commission structure, or you can have the agreement with that particular company or hotel chain accordingly. The fourth thing, which is tourist guide or tourist facilitator. This point I'm going to leave it to Sangeeta ma'am, because she actually conducts tour guide programs. So she teaches, as well as she herself is a tour guide, and she teaches a lot of students on how to actually conduct a tour and how do you share a story. So we have a slide around that. But this is another very important and a very interesting tour guide option that you can think of. There are certifications, there are exams that need to be given, however, if you want to become a tour guide or a tourist facilitator, and I'll talk about it a little towards the end. Now, normally we would look at this particular slide. This particular slide talks about what problem does a customer face. So if you want to start your business in travel industry or in any industry for that matter, you essentially need to solve a customer's problem. If you are able to solve a customer problem, then only the customer is going to pay you. Then only the customer is going to hire your services. So in the travel industry, there are two very basic problems that people face. One is ticketing, like how do I get the tickets? Now you might say, ye to sab virtually mil raha hai, it's online, it's available, I can just go and click. But there are still a large number of people who refrain, or they have an aversion to technology. They are not very well versed, so they want to go through a person. If I want to do my international tickets, I still sometimes feel that it's better to ask somebody, because isme visa requirement hoti is, I need to check my layover time, I need to check if visa is required in the transit, things like that. So I need somebody to guide me. So ticketing is one. Then where do I stay? What documents would I require for visa application? What is the checklist? How do I get the foreign exchange? How do I go for a travel insurance? Is travel insurance required or not? How much? So if I need to apply for a visa, what are the documents I need to submit? What is the checklist? Things like these is something told by the travel counselor. So you can think of starting your business one in this particular domain, wherein you are purely helping them out in terms of their reservation or in terms of their ticketing part for it. Okay. Again, this is not something which comes so easily to us. We are looking at ticketing, especially, which is a very technical topic. Okay, so just for your information, you can there are several courses that are available in terms of learning those softwares on with regards to ticketing. The second point over here on the slide is tour planning. Now, many a times, jana kahan hai ya kahan pe ghumne jaye is one very important or a pertinent question. So people, they have a lot of, at times, ghar pe jhagda hota hai ki yaar, ek एक कोई बोल रहा है हाँ डेस्टिनेशन ये चाहिए, कोई बोल रहा है नहीं we need to go to the Himalayas, we need to go to the mountains. One says नहीं नहीं we need to go to the seaside, we need to enjoy and relax over there. Somebody wants to do a jungle safari. So how do you plan, how do you decide, end up deciding? And even if you decide on a destination, वहां पे जाके देखना क्या है? So this is one very thing, because whenever you compare your trip with your neighbors or with your friends and family, there's always ये होता है कि यार उन्होंने कुछ ज्यादा ही उनके टूर पे उन्होंने एंजॉय किया है, उन्होंने ये ज्यादा देख लिया है. हमारे टाइम पे मुझे हमें तो बताया नहीं किसी ने कि ये म्यूजियम चालू हुआ है या ये उनको वहां पे ऐसा अच्छा सर्विस मिला है, थिंग्स लाइक दैट. सो पीपल वांट द बेस्ट ऑफ सर्विसेज. सो हाउ डू यू प्लान योर टूर, what destination that you choose, and how do you plan your itinerary? So this is one thing which you can think of, especially if you love traveling. This is one section wherein you can start working. Now we look at some types of tourism, and we will understand how and different ways we can explore business. Okay, different ways or business opportunities that are available, and what suits your according to your passion, your skill set, is something that you can choose. So these are a couple of examples that I'm going to share, and for every example, for every picture, I have some examples and stories to share. So the first one is cultural tourism, and all of us love to do this. We want to go to places, we want to explore their beautiful geographical surroundings, the places has to offer the weather, then if it's a mountain, if it's a beautiful tea plantations. So this is some of the pictures are from Munnar, from Kerala, from Alippi. Then the food we want to enjoy over there. So this is a cultural tourism which has a mix of all these things. So if you want to start your business in travel, and if you love to show people about the culture, about talking about the places, then this is what you can think about, wherein different activities that you can combine with, and something like a museum in this, something like a park, something like if there is a wildlife sanctuary a little distance away from this place, you can all club it and you can do this. Food becomes an integral part of such trips. People want to explore and try out the local cuisine over there. I in fact had mentioned about food to one of my students, and he had his own travel company. On his in his Kerala trip for his guests, he reached out to a local, how do I say this? So in Pune, in Marathi we call it as Khanawal. Khanawal is the local mess, okay, wherein people you have the local food. It's like a thali, but it's not a hotel over there. It's the local food thali types, roti sabji types you get over there. So he reached out to this place and he asked them that whatever your local delicacies, whatever the local dishes are, can you do a 1 hour cooking session for my guests? And the lady over there, she happily agreed, and they created a small setup in the hall of the hotel, and she came over and she taught them some local Kerala dishes over there to the guests, and the guests were very happy, noting down the recipes and how did she do this, how did she end up cooking some really tasty dishes that they tried, and the tour was really well appreciated and by the guests over here. On the right is agro tourism. This is something that many people have now starting to explore in Maharashtra itself. There are a lot of agro tourism. Jala आम्ही मराठीमध्ये कृषी पर्यटन केंद्र असं म्हणतो. These are farmers who main I would say profession or occupation is farming, but along with that they have come up with some small cottages near the farm, wherein people from the cities can come and stay over there, and they can also be a part of the farming activities. They can also explore the places around, and they can also learn a little bit about how the farming takes place. And there are a lot of other activities, जैसे कि बैलगाड़ी जो bullock cart ride जो होता है वो यहाँ पे करवाते हैं. A lot of other things. Then there's a walk around to the entire fields. They make you, they allow you to, in case if they allow you to pick up some vegetables, and they'll ask you can cook them and things. So a lot of farming related activities. So many of the parents would want their children to experience this firsthand as well, to go and understand ये farming कैसे होता है, क्या होता है, and because in the books it's taught to them. So why not this? This is one of the pictures that we've taken recently. We started working on a project with me, Sangeeta madam and Mr. Naik, who also is a part of the tourism industry, and we are working with a group of farmers in near Pune. This is Andar Mawal. This is where they are coming up with their own agro-tourism centers. This is okay. So I'm going to request Sangeeta ma'am to talk about the next 2 slides. She has some interesting stories to share.
Yes, sure.
Yes, madam.
Yes. There are many sections under travel industries like heritage. अभी हमने बात की है. हेरिटेज है, एडवेंचर्स जिसमें ट्रेक्स, फोर्स है, हिमालयन ट्रेक्स वगैरह है, जंगल टूर्स है, कैंपिंग है, फूड टूर्स है, अभी वो उसको भी अच्छे दिन आ गए हैं, वाइन टूर्स है जो हम हमारे यानी महाराष्ट्र में भी कर सकते हैं, हमारे इंडिया में भी बहुत से वाइन कुछ प्रोड्यूस करने वाले फैक्ट्रीज है, और हम यूरोप में तो जा सकते हैं, तो उसमें अभी लोगों की लाइकिंग बढ़ रहा है. शॉपिंग टूर्स है, स्पिरिचुअल टूर्स वो जो हम अभी पहले से कर रहे हैं, साइकिल टूर्स है, बाइसिकल साइकिल पे जाते हैं, बाइक टूर्स है, बुकिंग हम ट्रेन का बुकिंग है, होटल का बुकिंग है, तो ये बहुत से सेक्शंस हम हैंडल करते हैं. ठीक है, और ये इतना काम होता है कि एक कंपनी ये सब हैंडल नहीं कर पाती है, तो उसमें हम सेक्शन वाइज कुछ काम करते हैं. यानी अभी पहली जो स्लाइड्स है वो हेरिटेज की है, ये शनिवारवाड़ी की है हमारे पुणे की, तो जहाँ से पेशवे ने जो राज किया है इंडिया पे, तो उसकी जो हिस्ट्री मैं बता रही थी बच्चों को, तो ऐसे भी कुछ ग्रुप्स आते हैं हमारे यहाँ कि हमको इस शहर के या इसी मॉन्यूमेंट्स के कुछ हमको बताना है. अभी एक सोहम सर ने पॉम्पे का बताया, तो पॉम्पे जो है वो इटाली में है, बराबर है. तो यहाँ इटाली का जो पॉम्पे है वो जो एक्सकेवेशन साइट है, अभी वोल्केनिक साइट है, तो वो साइट, और हमारे यहाँ उस्मानाबाद में तेर नाम का एक शहर है, उसमें सेम दोनों जगह सेम डॉल्स हमने फाउंड किए, एक्सकेवेट किए. तो उसमें पता चलता है कि हमारा जो व्यापार चल रहा था उस टाइम 2000 साल पहले, इटली से जो सामान आते थे हमारे यहाँ और हमारे यहाँ से वहाँ जाते थे, तो उसमें से वो डॉल्स हमको अभी मिली है. तो वही इंटरेस्टिंग कनेक्टिविटी है महाराष्ट्र और पॉम्पे में. तो हेरिटेज उसमें जो हम जो देखते हैं, कोई भी म्यूजियम हो, कोई भी टेम्पल हो, कोई भी केव्स हो, तो उसमें हमको यानी इंफॉर्मेशन मिलती है अच्छी, तो वो देखने में ज्यादा मजा आता है. और दूसरी जो स्लाइड्स है वो एजुकेशनल है, नेचर स्टडी कैंप्स फॉर ऑल एज ग्रुप हम करते हैं. लेकिन उसमें अभी क्या होता है कि स्कूल में बच्चों को सब सिखाते नहीं है. आपको पता है क्या, अपने बच्चों को भी स्कूल में जो हम पढ़ते हैं तो वो सिर्फ कुछ थियोरेटिकल होता है और बाकी कुछ नहीं होता है. तो हम बच्चों को थोड़ा सा अलग व्यवहार सिखाने के लिए, थोड़ा अलग अनुभव देने के लिए ये स्टडी टूर्स या ये कैंप्स हम हैंडल करते हैं. इसमें एजुकेशन भी होता है और फन भी होता है, तो ये बहुत जरूरी है अपने हमारे अगले पीढ़ी को, और ये नेसेसरी है. थोड़ा सा हम जो हमारा जो नेचर है, हमारा जो हेरिटेज है, वो हमारा थोड़ा एडवेंचर है, तो वो पता है. यानी हम उनको किचन भी हैंडल करने देते हैं कैंप में. यानी खिचड़ी करनी है या कुछ अलग सा कुछ करना है, तो हम उनको सिखाते हैं कि अरे ऐसे ऐसे करना है, वो बहुत एंजॉय करते हैं उसमें. वाइल्ड लाइफ जो है वो एक अलग सा ट्रैवल सेक्शन में, और अभी वो बढ़ता हुआ सेक्शन है. वाइल्ड लाइफ टूर्स फेमस है, और महाराष्ट्र में ऑब्वियसली, क्योंकि महाराष्ट्र और मध्य प्रदेश में बहुत सारे ज्यादा अच्छे ट्रेल्स है. और पेंच है हमारे यहाँ, नागजीरा है महाराष्ट्र में, पेंच महाराष्ट्र भी होता है, और पेंच एमपी में भी है, तो बीच में पेंच नदी है. और बांधवगढ़ है वहाँ, पन्ना है, तो बहुत अच्छे. लेकिन हम क्या सोचे जाते हैं कि हमको टाइगर देखना है, बस उतना ही फोकस हमारा होता है. तो मैं फिर भी बोलती हूँ लोगों की, आपको टाइगर दिखेगा ना दिखेगा मालूम नहीं, लेकिन आपको जंगल सुनना चाहिए, आपको जंगल देखना चाहिए, आपको महसूस करना चाहिए. तो एक्सपीरियंस है वो आपको मिलना चाहिए, और वो हमको यहाँ शहर में तो नहीं मिलेगा, वो ऑब्वियसली वाइल्ड लाइफ में मिलेगा. तो ये भी एक सेक्शन अच्छा है ट्रैवल इंडस्ट्री में, वो अभी बढ़ता जा रहा है। और एडवेंचर, ये जो सेक्टर है एडवेंचर इंडस्ट्री आर वन ऑफ द फास्टेस्ट ग्रोइंग सेक्शन इन ट्रैवल इंडस्ट्री। तो ये जो अभी बढ़ने वाले, हम 1 डे 2 डे ट्रेक्स तो महाराष्ट्र में करते हैं क्योंकि ऑब्वियसली सह्याद्री है हमारे यहाँ, लेकिन बाकी के स्टेट में ऐसा उनको लोगों को मिलता ही नहीं है। वो डायरेक्ट आते हैं हिमालय में, तो उनको थोड़ा तकलीफ होती है। लेकिन हमारे बच्चे जो है जो सह्याद्री में ट्रेक्स करते हैं, वहां से फिर हिमालय में जाते हैं, तो उनको थोड़ा सा ज्यादा अच्छा लगता है। तो एडवेंचर सेक्शन में भी from the very beginning women are seen participating in it, this area. So this area is not new for women as a participant or as a business owner. लेकिन उसमें नंबर्स कम है, ठीक है, वो बढ़ जाएंगे क्योंकि एज अ वुमन पीपल ट्रस्टेड यू, ज्यादा अच्छे लोगों, यानी फीमेल है आपके या कंपनी में या बिजनेस में, तो थोड़ा अच्छा होता है क्योंकि लोगों का ट्रस्ट ज्यादा बढ़ता है। ये मेरा अनुभव है, तो उसका मैं जरूर फायदा उठाती हूँ। लेकिन हमारे यहाँ बहुत से टाइप के एडवेंचर्स है, वो सबने करने चाहिए, स्पेशली वुमेन्स की भी करनी चाहिए। तो आपको जो आपका जो कॉन्फिडेंस है वो बढ़ता है आपका भी, और ऑब्वियसली आपका फैमिली का भी बढ़ता है, और ये अच्छा है, वो करना चाहिए। नेक्स्ट।
यस, ये मैडम, ये आपका फोटो है, राइट?
यस, मेरा ही है।
Because I can't imagine doing this. I'll be very scared.
नहीं, ये तो वेरी सिंपल है, क्योंकि रैपलिंग में तो कुछ लगता नहीं है, क्योंकि आपको तो सब सेफ्टी इक्विपमेंट्स दिए जाते हैं, कैसे करना है, क्या करना है। थोड़ा सा ये थोड़ा सा उनका जो सुनेंगे लोगों का, तो ये हो जाता है, कुछ नहीं प्रॉब्लम होता है।
फिलहाल मेरे लिए ये फोटो में ही अच्छा है, सो
हम जल्दी करेंगे, जल्दी करेंगे।
Okay, we'll plan. So thank you very much, Sangeeta ma'am. Now I'll just quickly take the participants through some more tour types. One is the pilgrimage, which is another very very traditional, very old form of traveling. And if you like to explore such places wherein for spiritual journeys, for religious tours, there are umpteen options that are there. One of my students in Nasik started Ashtavinayak Yatra, and he started with this with a very small group, and today he has his own bus to take the tours. So he started off with and Ashtavinayak Yatra has to be very well planned, by the way, because there are very few hotel options available, and these hotel options are available at a very specific Ganpati temple cities or the villages that are located. So there are certain tours that you can certainly plan. And I used to do tours. I've taken groups to Tirupati back in my early days, and I still remember it's not an easy task, but managing people with you. There are several people around you. They are thinking differently. They are traveling. They want to explore the place. They want to do the darshan also quickly. They want to go and shop as well, and you have to really manage all this. So this is one of the tools. One slide, which is one picture that hasn't opened up over here in my slide, is the workation. Okay, I'm just going to quickly type this word in the chat window for. It's called as workation or work vacation. Now, this is another very trending kind of a type of a tour, wherein if you are working from home, the basic things that you require is a laptop, is good internet connectivity, and a network to your phone. These are three things which are very essential if you want to work from home. But if these three things are available at a tourist destination, at, let's say, in the Himalayas, if it's available at, let's say, in a very beautiful remote seaside village, so if I'm getting a good connectivity, good Wi-Fi, good network on the phone, then I can work from anywhere on earth. So this workation or work vacation have started, and there are several such places that are available. Some of them are homestays, which are now giving them an option of, they are giving them a room to rent for a couple of days probably for a month if they want to stay, and then they are also giving them the budget ki, isme itna food milega, you'll get these facilities, these and that, and they're selling it as a package as well. There's one project that we are working on in Vella city, where Vella village is close to Pune, around 80 kilometers from here in Pune. They're coming up with a site where people can come and stay there as long as they want. It's in the nature, in the midst of the Sahyadris, and you get to see the different forts around you, and they are offering a good internet Wi-Fi connectivity over there. So this makes, especially working professionals who want to work, can't take a break or can't go on leaves, can't take a holiday, but they can certainly carry their laptops and start working at a different place, and in the evening enjoy the surrounding around them. So what are the other business opportunities? Quickly, I'll run through them. One is farm stays or home stays or accommodation. So even if you don't have one, even if you don't own a farm stay, you can certainly tie up with a different farm stays that are available, which we call here as Krishi Paryatan Kendra. You can go and speak to them saying, you know what, we will promote your farm stays, we will promote your home stays, and in return, this is the kind of a business agreement we'll have, that you will offer us this kind of a profit and things like that. So certainly you can explore this kind of opportunities. There are bike tours also that can be given out on the rents, bicycles. I have done this kind of a small tour in Kerala, in Munnar. One of the hotels over there is a very eco-friendly, very environmental conscious hotel. It's a very nice property to stay, and there they had given us cycles. So me and my wife, we were, traveling, we were riding around in Munnar on cycles, which we were never could imagine in our own city. But the entire Munnar place, we were on our bikes. We had a really great time traveling with this. And certainly you can do bike tours also. We also have MICE, which is especially for the corporate. So if you're working with different companies, you can offer them their travel for their employees. That is, whenever employee travels, unka tickets karna hai, unke hotel stay karna hai, unka visa karna hai, unka travel insurance karna hai. These things you can do it for them. Then you also are, not necessarily that you have the resources to do it, but you can certainly take up kind of a booking center or something like, for example, you have these airport shuttle services. In Pune, you have from Pune to Mumbai airport, there are airport drops. So there you can speak to the vendor over here and tell them, okay, that I have a group, I want to tie up with you, I want to do this. There are camping grounds also. Sangeeta ma'am will talk about it more because she does it. Camping grounds are the ones which are large spaces available, wherein they allow you to camp at their place, and there are some infrastructure, some facilities that are provided. Car rentals, again, you may have a car that you would like to rent, you may not have a car, but then certainly you can reach out to car rental suppliers, vendors, and people genuinely need a very good car, a good transport with a good driver who can take them around and show them places if required. So these are things that you could actually try. A lot of people are into corporate trainings, including me. I do sessions for companies, and I'm always on the lookout for a good offsite places wherein I can go and ask the companies to come, and team members over there, and we do a lot of activities over there in terms of understanding more about management lessons and principles and all that. But certainly we always on the lookout of some good places wherein we can. So you can think about that only, where specifically you work for corporates and you plan these offsite trainings for them. This I have mentioned about local cuisine sessions for tourists. This is, like I mentioned, one of my students in Kerala who did this. Haunted site visits. Sangeeta ma'am, can you talk about that place, haunted?
हाँ, अभी यानी इंडिया के गवर्नमेंट ने अभी एक हॉन्टेड विलेज डिक्लेयर किया है, आपको पता है? हमारे यहाँ एक साउथ में है वो साइट, रामेश्वरम के पास, धनुष्यकोडी, आपने सुना है? तो धनुष्यकोडी जो है वो एक दिन यानी एक रात में वैनिश हो गया था। अरे समुद्र के नीचे गया और उसमें कुछ नहीं रहा। फिर कुछ सालों के बाद वो ऊपर आया, लेकिन वहां अभी कुछ नहीं है। तो सुबह 9 बजे से शाम को 6 बजे तक ही आपको वहां जाने का ये परमिशन है। लेकिन वो हॉन्टेड यानी घोस्ट टाउन डिक्लेयर किया है। तो हमारे यहाँ जो फोर्ट्स भी है महाराष्ट्र में और कहीं इंडिया में भी, तो वो कुछ यानी भूत के महल है वहाँ, भूत के कुछ जगह है वहाँ, ये है। और ये महसूस करने के लिए कुछ लोग अभी ट्रैवलिंग में उसको यूज कर रहे हैं।
Oh, okay. That reminds me of another place in Europe called as Catswell. CATS well, Catswell. Something to do with cats and a well. So you can Google this. I will not go into the history and the story of it. Again, souvenir shops are places where you can take your tourists along with you and ask them to, if they would like to buy something as they would remember from that particular place as souvenirs, and you can have a tie-up with the local shop over there. Tour guides or tourist facilitators, there's a separate program for this. The government has also started a tourist facilitator program. If you'd like, I can share with you the link and everything, and you can go online and learn. It helps you understand more about the industry, and you end up becoming a tourist facilitator. It's a course that you can, and also local tourist guide is something that you can think of. Like ma'am was talking about the heritage tours. Most of the cities now are coming up with heritage walks. In Pune, we have from Shaniwar Wada to Vishrambag Wada, which is around 1.5 to 2 kilometers of walk, and they take you to one monument and to the other. You have to walk all the way, and in between they offer you something to eat, something to drink, and in that you check out the entire place and the history of Pune in this short 1.5 to 2 hours of session of this walk. This is the heritage walk we are talking about. In the picture, I have my colleague, Mr. Sanjay Naik, who's wearing the cap, the purple color cap. He is from Saul. Saul is a village near Alibag. So if you next time go to Alibag, look out for Saul. And in Saul village, it has a history with some naval warfare, the naval war that took place years ago. And Portuguese were involved in that. And I'm not much aware of the history of it because he...
Can I talk?
हाँ,
मैं बोल सकती हूँ बीच में. हाँ.
Yes, go ahead. Sorry, yeah, you are from Chaul. My bad. You are from Alibag.
Yes. Chaul जो है वो एंशिएंट पोर्ट है. तो वहाँ बहुत से पुराने प्लेसेस है जो हम बता सकते हैं कि हाँ यहाँ बहुत से लोग आए हैं. यूरोपियंस आए थे, अफगानिस्तान से आए थे, बलूचिस्तान से आए थे, पाकिस्तान से आए थे. तो हमारा जो ट्रेड रूट था वो रोम से था, ईरान से था. ठीक है. तो वहां से जो लोग आते थे वो वहां तो उस टाइम तो मुंबई नहीं था. तो उस टाइम ठाणे कल्याण का थोड़ा जो पोर्ट है यानी सोपारा जो है तो वो था, और यहाँ चौल का था. तो यहाँ जो वो सब जहाज लगते थे ट्रेडिंग के लिए, तो वहां से हमारे जो पोर्टर्स थे वो वहां से हम बाकी के देश के बाकी के हिस्सों में वो जाते थे. तो यहाँ का जो चौल का जो स्पेशलाइज है वो सिंधी लोगों का जो एक टेम्पल है, ये 2000 साल का पुराना है. एक छोटा सा केव है ऊपर जिसको हम हिंगुर्जा माता बोलते हैं, हिंगुर्जा देवी बोलते हैं. और ये जो देवी है वो ये व्यापारी लोग जो ट्रेड करने के जो लोग थे वो वहां से आए थे, तो उन्होंने अपने साथ वो देवी का भी पूजा अर्चा यहाँ लाया. अभी बलूचिस्तान में यानी पाकिस्तान में ये देवी का जो मुख्य थाना है वो अभी है. आप सर्च कर सकते हैं हिंगुर्जा माता बलूचिस्तान, वो नानी का पूजा स्थान या ऐसा कुछ बोलते हैं वो वहाँ. और आशापुरी माता का भी वहां से. तो यहाँ वो लोग यहाँ वो सब पूजा लेके आए. अभी चौल में वो आप देख सकते हैं.
अच्छा, okay. And I think some of them still speak Portuguese. Is that correct?
Yes. पोर्तुगीज लोगों का भी यहाँ वहाँ चर्च है, और इस्राएली लोगों जू लोगों का भी एक पुराना चर्च है वहाँ. तो कुछ घटनाएं वहाँ घटी है ऐसे वो जू लोग भी बोलते हैं, क्योंकि 150 साल जू लोग जो वहां से आए भारत में, तो कुछ लोग यहाँ बस गए कोकण में. तो उन्होंने यहाँ का भाषा, यहाँ का रहन सहन, लेकिन उनका जो धर्म है वो बरकरार रखा. हमने भी वो उन्होंने भी.
Mr. Soham?
Yes.
Yeah. So our next guest has arrived, and he is a little short of time.
Oh,
so
okay.
If we took him in first and then you continued?
Okay. That works. Sorry, I've eaten up his time, Raj. Sorry about that.
So we'll just get in the other guest because he has to leave. That's his problem. So he will have to leave.
I understand.
Yeah.
No issues.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Sorry,
Raj. No, not to worry.
We would like to go into the next session of tourism. We just heard an interesting session about some opportunities, what we could get in tourism. Now we would like to present Mr. Raj Rishi, co-founder and managing director of Conscious Journey, a travel company with a difference. With a master's degree in software engineering, Mr. Raj Rishi has always been looking for ways to contribute the most marginalized segments of his homeland, which is India. Over the past few years, after returning back to India from the UK and having completed his education, he has traveled the length and breadth of South Asian countries, mesmerized by the varied traditions, culture, architects, and particularly by the spiritual aspect of every place. We welcome Mr. Raj Rishi, who along with his Italian classmate has founded Conscious Journeys. He manages the business of India from his Kolkata office. And one of his major objectives in co-founding the organization has been to give a real taste of culture and tradition to travelers, and at the same time to help the backward classes of the society through responsible conscious tourism. Welcome, Mr. Raj Rishi.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I would like to thank Women's International Chamber of Commerce and Industry and Maharashtra Marketing Council, and especially Devjani ma'am for inviting me to this beautiful discussion that was happening. I'm a little sorry that I was stuck with some work and I'm still stuck with work, so I could not join from the beginning. But yeah, it was a very interesting discussion that was happening regarding to tourism. I would just tell my journey in short about tourism. I am a student of software engineering, and I had done my engineering in softwares like computer science engineering, and also my master's. Masters, I shifted a little bit. Masters was IT for e-commerce because I really did not want to be a decoder or coder and sit in front of the computer for hours. Rather, I wanted to do something different in the commercial aspect. So I did IT for e-commerce so that I can do some e-commerce things related to the computer science. But there was something, it says that man proposes and God disposes. So what happened is while I was studying in University of Sussex, I was doing my master's, I met a student from the same university, but he was doing PhD in anthropology. So he was my flatmate, and I was very, excited to see this his research papers which he was doing on the tribals of India. He being an Italian, he was doing his research on tribals of India. He was staying in India for the last 5 years, and then when I was in UK, he went there to submit his papers. So I felt it so exciting, and then I thought, why not do something which I can combine tourism and this development sector together. So I came up with the idea of putting these two. It took me a little time to actually amalgamate these two processes. Though their responsible tourism is not very new concept in the world, but it is really a new concept in India. 10 years back when I was doing my master's, like 2011. So it was difficult for me when I proposed him and I say that I want to do something in tourism and involve this community-based activities. He said, no, you don't know anything about this tribals, you don't know anything about development sector. So I said, okay, I am very interested to know about these things. So I read a lot of journals and I read a lot of his thesis papers, and I finally found a way so that I could amalgamate tourism with development sector. And there is this is how Conscious Journeys was formed, and we made it conscious because I wanted our travelers to be conscious of what they are doing. It is not only traveling. Now I would like to explain about this responsible tourism concept. For us, but there were so nice things spoken about tourism. There's so many new avenues of tourism that has come out now, which was really not very much prevalent 10 years or 15 years back. That time these concepts were really new. Now that you have this cultural tourism, you have this archaeological tourism. Previously, it was not so much in place. So I would explain what responsible tourism is. For us, for Indians generally, what tourism used to be is, because we are so much stuck in our lives and because we are so much fatigued with our lives, for us, tourism is to visit some place, relax a bit, stay in a nice place, have good food, take some pictures and come back. That is how tourism used to be. And for Europeans also, it used to be like that. They used to visit some other countries, take good pictures, have a nice life for 7 days, and then come back. But the world always, world always accepts and gives way to new things, new concepts, and that is how responsible tourism came into being. Responsible tourism is tourism like you visit a place. Suppose a group of tourists from Italy, they are visiting India, but they're not just seeing Agra, Taj Mahal, all the good places, staying in resorts and then going back. It is not that. Responsible tourism, for example, we invite a group of people, we invite a group of Europeans to visit a remote forest, tribal land of India. Suppose a remote tribal area of Wayanad, where there are tribes staying, which is generally not accessed by tourists. And we make them this opportunity because my co-founder of Conscious Journeys and the co-director, he had stayed in this forest. He had done research in this forest with these tribes. So we have the access to stay with these tribes. And we had made this amalgamation that these people can, these travelers, our guests can come, they can stay in the villages with the tribes in their tribal huts. They can live a life of these tribals for the next 10 days, which is at the first go, you can say, oh my God, it will be so shabby, it will be so uncomfortable. But then that is the challenge, to balance everything out. We have trained these tribals to provide the basic amenities and the basic cleanliness and the basic hospitality that is required to welcome our guests. And then they can stay very comfortably in their houses. They can take part in the tribal cooking. They can go in the tribal jungles. They can just have honey, how the tribes collect honey. They can do fishing and many other exciting things. And what are they going to learn from these tribals? Is it only about the experience or they learn something? Well, they learn a lot. First of all, they learn how to live a very simple and happy life. In European world, they have so much of riches, they have so many things, but from the tribes, they learn that even if you don't have so many things, you can lead a happy and healthy life. The tribals really don't need so much of medicine, so good hospitals, so good infrastructures if they fall sick. Rather, they use the primitive methods of treatment, which is Ayurveda. When our groups are taken through the forest, they see the trees which are marked by the name and what diseases they cure. For example, suppose in fever, they have some other herbs. For some other problems like headache, migraine, they have this stuff. And the main thing is, if we lead a healthy life, if we lead a life which is close to the earth, which is close to the environment, we develop our immunity. And that is what the world has learned from the present 2 years of scenario, that we really have not heard very much of COVID situations in tribal areas or remote village areas. Rather, the urban people, who are staying in so much of riches, they have developed don't have so much of immunity. That is why they're prone to so many diseases. So these are the things our guests, they can learn from the tribals. Not only that, they learn so many techniques of livelihood from the tribals. And it is not only one-sided learning, and what they give on their behalf is not money. It is not only about money, but we run sustainable projects. Suppose a part of the tourism, we make a fund. From that fund, we make some sustainable projects in the tribal village. Suppose they are making some raw honey, and we are collecting the honey from them, and we are selling this honey directly to the European market through various cooperative societies. So in a way, both of them are getting benefited. The European people, they can get a taste of their livelihood, and they can also take products from them. And on the other hand, the tribals are also getting benefited from the tourism. This is one type of tourism. There is another very interesting thing. The tour that we have in Ladakh, we have a program called Monk for a Month. People, European people, if sometimes they get depressed, sometimes they get so bored with their lives, they want to live a salvated life, which is really not possible in a very busy schedule that we have in our office, we have in our families. But if they can manage to take a break of 15 days or 20 days or a month, we can manage them to give a life of a monk. They can come to Ladakh. We have collaborated with Mohabadi Society. In Mohabadi Society, they can just take an entry, and they will be wearing they will be going through a ritual of a monk. And then they will be wearing a robe of a monk, and then they will be given a beautiful cottage which is on the hills of Ladakh, and then they can experience the meditation, pranayam, yoga, all these things. Along with them, there is the priest who is helping them to do this worship, Buddhist worship. So beautiful experience, and they can experience this in a short span of 15 days, go back to their hometown fully rejuvenated and being a new person altogether. So this is another aspect. I would also like to speak of Ganga tour that I have. I had taken 2 years to design this Ganga tour, which is really an experience of life. Why I call this an experience of life, I had always explained that our life is almost, if we can speak philosophically, our life is almost like a river. Why? Because when a river is just born, it is very fragile. It is very what to say, quick flowing. It is too much quick, and it is very forceful. That is how our childhood is. When we are a child, we are full of energy. We are flowing, not thinking of what will happen, what will be the consequences. That is how the river starts its flow. Then slowly, when in due course, when the life flows and when the river flows, it collects lot of experiences. And the river collects lots of rocks and moss and many other things. And slowly, with experience, with knowledge, the flow decreases. The river bed becomes wider and the flow, the speed decreases. That is how, when the more we become experienced with life, the more we become knowledgeable with life, our inner sphere, our knowledge sphere increases, our sphere of people who are around us, they increase, but our speed to do something decreases, which is for good. And at the end, when the river is meeting the sea, that is when we can translate it like when our life is ending, we have so much of experience which is going to the ocean. Like when we say that we merge into the eternity, we take all our experiences with us and full of humility. When the river meets the sea, it does not show what it has broken, how it has flown, what courses it has followed. Rather, it brings all that it has brought for it with it and gives it, surrenders it to the sea, not keeping anything to itself. That is how life is. And I have transformed this entire concept into a tourism, which is my Ganga tour, which is very close to my heart, my Ganga tour. And here our guests, they are starting from Delhi, they are going to Haridwar, then they are going to Rishikesh. From Haridwar, they are seeing our cultural aspects, the Ganga Arati, all these things they are seeing. Along with that, they are getting an insight of our spirituality. And then they are going to Rishikesh. There we have a beautiful 3 days meditation program, and we give an insight of our spirituality, Indian spirituality. And then they go to Dehradun, where we do a beautiful project with Vandana Shiva, and they have this Navadanya project where they are doing beautiful project with the seeds, of the earth. And after that, they are coming to Varanasi. In Varanasi, it has to be, because if it's the Ganga tour, the Ganga has a confluence near Varanasi in Allahabad. And in Varanasi, they can again take part in our culture and in our spirituality. And later on, in the end part of the journey, they come to Kolkata. They take they can experience the rich heritage and culture of Kolkata, and then we take them to Shantiniketan. In Bolpur, I have a beautiful project with the Santhal tribes. 8 kilometers from Bolpur, there is a village. I would not disclose the name of the village, but it is a village which Conscious Journeys is taking care of. We are not allowing any other tourists to come and just click pictures, because we are very particular about these things. And tribals are also people like us. Just because they're poor, they live in huts. We cannot put our step on their dignity. So we also need to respect their dignity. That is why we maintain very strict norms that you can only click pictures if they allow you to. You can take an insight in their lives. We will allow you to do that. You can enter their hearts if they invite you to their hearts. And our villagers, they are so kind, jovial people. They invite all our guests to their huts. They make freshly, it's called muri, puffed rice. They make freshly baked muri, and they make all delicacies, Bengali delicacies, for the entire day. And all our guests, they can stay one full day with the Santhal tribes. They can learn how to make organic plates with sal leaves, like we used to have much
He's having a connectivity issue.
Can wait for a few minutes to see if Mr. Raj can join in.
He's just logging in again. He got logged out. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm amazed at Mr. Soham and Mr. Rishi, the kind of the variety that they talked about, right? And for us, it is like tourism means just going to see some place, taking photographs and coming back. But this is amazing. Actually, Raj Rishi is very fond of music, and he has his own music studio. And he's got such fantastic equipment that filmmakers in Kolkata are now going to record there. So he's like between the two things, he doesn't sit down. So during the pandemic, this is what he started. He's personally a very good singer.
Wow.
And a very, very talented youngster.
Interesting.
I thought it was worth getting him to give us this side of the story.
Absolutely.
Yeah, something different. But because of his thing, I'm so sorry, Mr. Soham, that I had to interrupt you because he kept messaging me, ma'am, I really need to. So yeah, he's back. Yeah.
I'm extremely sorry. I got.
Carry on.
Yeah. So am I audible?
Yes,
okay. Thank you so much. I'm extremely sorry. There were some internet issues, and I saw that the faces were freezed, and I was speaking. Okay, so the Ganga tour. Then they're coming to Allahabad from Dehradun. They're coming to Allahabad, and then from there they're coming to Kolkata. I hope I was speaking about the tribals of the Santals. So they spend an entire day with the tribals, and then they invite them to their house. They show them these tribals in Shantiniketan. They're very nice painters, and they have fancy. Every house has a unique painting of the lady of the house. All the ladies, they make unusual paintings, and every house is an identity of that lady. Like the more beautiful is the painting, the more beautiful is the house, and more beautiful is the hospitality. Absolutely. So with the tribals, we spend a full day. The ladies of the village, they are extremely welcoming, and they are extremely what to say, active. They do not sit and do only household work. They transform their skills into very beautiful things. And then they make organic plates, they make organic glasses with sal leaves, and then they sell that in the local market. And our guests are very fortunate that these ladies love them so much. Whenever we bring our guests, they teach them the unique method, the unique way of making these sal plates, sal glasses, organic plates, glasses, brooms, and then as souvenir, they can take them to their countries, which is a beautiful exchange. They also make very nice weaved clothes. And so it is also an exchange that our guests can buy directly from them, and they can also run their families with this incomes. So it is a beautiful thing, and we end the tour in the Ganges, in watching the beautiful sunset, and then the next day they return back to their countries with beautiful memories of the 15 days they had spent, and not only the memories, they have what they have learned through this tourism, through this journey of life. And I'm very fortunate that whenever they go, I had started our first Ganga tour in 2015, and since then, so many guests, so many groups have come, and all of them are still connected with me. They always write to me in WhatsApp that we cannot forget the experience, and whatever we had learned from this experience, from this journey, it has nourished us, and we cherish it throughout our life. We will cherish it throughout our life. So that is the success of tourism. That is the success of responsible tourism, that we change lives, we make difference in the society. So that is what I had to say. If you have any questions, you can say. I'm open to answer, and
you can please feel free to ask any questions or queries you may have.
Anyone, if you have any question regarding responsible tourism, regarding our activities and all, you can ask.
Hi, this is Deepshika Sharma.
Hi.
I'm actually from development sector. I've done my bachelor's in social work. So
Wow.
as you were mentioning that you work with your tourism is such that it somewhere ends in the with the travels of India. So is there anything which you are doing in Maharashtra with tribals?
No, because I have not yet. I have formed Conscious Journeys in 2013, and for the next 2 years we had our classic tours in Rajasthan, South India. South India was our base because Leonardo was based in South India, and we had a good connection with the tribals of South India. And for me, being in Kolkata and connected to Shantiniketan, so these were our forte. Because see, tribal sector, the development sector is very touchy thing. We cannot just go and in any tribal village and infiltrate there. We cannot do that. There are very much restrictions. There are very many norms that has to be followed. So I really have my heart longing to do something in Maharashtra, but I personally have not explored Maharashtra a lot. So hopefully in the near future we will be doing. I really don't know much tribal activities happening there, but definitely I will explore in the near future.
Yeah, sure. So, in my 3 years of academic journey, I got the opportunity to work with to basically look at Mumbai, how it works. I'm actually from JNK, so I'm from Jammu, but I studied in Mumbai. So from that, the emotions and rural emotions which I had. So there's one NGO which is close to my heart. It's called Ankur Trust. They very closely work with the Katkari tribe. That is in Pune. That is 2 kilometers away from Mumbai. Yeah, 2 kilometers of ride to Mumbai. So if I get an opportunity to basically to connect you with them, and because they are actually trying to work on livelihood of tribals and their children, so it will be a great. They've developed, and we've been discussing the idea of agro tourism and stuff like that, which could generate more funds for the tribal.
We actually explore a lot of other things in tourism, not only with the tribes. We focus on women empowerment, we focus on children education, we focus on a lot of other things. We have in Kolkata, we have a very nice NGO called Silence. They work with people who cannot speak and hear. In Silence, they are doing so, and they are training these people because we know that when we say, there is a saying, when God takes away one thing, it makes a person more skilled in some other things. So this Silence, they take out the skill of this type of people who cannot speak, who cannot hear, and they train these people, and then they make so beautiful things, so beautiful artifacts. And then there is a collaboration with European NGOs and European cooperatives. They buy these products directly from Silence. And we Conscious Journeys, we are collaborated with Silence from our beginning. And when our guests come, we take them to the Silence workshop, and they can spend half a day with these beautiful people, specially able people, we say, and they can experience many beautiful things that they make, and then they can also buy them and take back to their countries. Today, actually, my time is very short, and so I could not speak many things. Maybe in the near future, I would also like to speak many things on this aspects that we cover as well. Thank you so much, ma'am.
I have a suggestion. If you don't mind, you can put your email ID on the chat box. And if somebody has a query or want to reach out to you, then they could do that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And all of you can see our activities in Conscious Journeys Facebook page and our consciousjourneys.com, www.consciousjourneys.com, CONSCIOUS, consciousjourneys.com. So you can see all our activities, and I will definitely give my mail ID. So if you have anything to say, if you have any queries, I am always there to answer. It will be really nice.
Thank you so much, Mr. Raj, for this wonderful session what we had. It was not just about tourism or an external journey, but the way you explained the concept, it is also about an inward journey.
Yeah,
you can
absolutely.
explore something more inwardly. And the sensitivity with which you took us through this journey of tourism, we are so happy and proud to have you sharing this platform with us, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was my pleasure, and Devjani ma'am, I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart to give me this opportunity to speak on behalf of tourism and conscious service.
Always welcome.
Thank you.
It is.
I take a leave.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
You.
So back to Mr. Soham.
Yes.
Yeah, equally interesting. Thank you so much, Rishi.
Thank you so much.
Rishi. Yes. This makes me say one thing. When I heard his story, tourism teaches you what is not taught in your textbooks. So it's absolutely a very enriching lesson that we've heard from him. So quickly, I'll just run through some trending topics. Just 2 more slides to go. Some of the latest trends that are happening in tourism industry is one that there's a lot of domestic travel that's happening around. So now, though the international travel has started, the international flights have started, but people want to explore our country, and this is what it's a great opportunity for us to do so. The government is also taking a lot of initiatives to come up with different activities, circuits, and that's what they're doing. And many people are looking for weekend and short trips. That's another area that we could explore to start with initially as a business opportunity. Work vacation or workation is what we call. We always look out for such opportunities over here whenever we want to travel and work at the same time. And last, we are talking about experiential travel, and this is one area where I personally also love to do, is to go and experience the local culture by talking with the locals over there. This is a picture from a village in Munnar where I got a chance to do an early morning tea plantation walk, and I ended up speaking with the tea plantation workers over there. And the conversation was around their lives and the work that they do in the tea gardens and how their day goes and what of activities that they do. It was so an enriching experience and the conversation was so interesting that they took me to the local canteen over there, the canteen where the workers sit and have a cup of tea. Now imagine me and my wife having a cup of tea in the tea gardens. Being a tea lover, this is one thing that I will never ever forget. So these are experiential tourism that I always would want. I normally, whenever I travel in India or overseas, I make it a habit to use the metro. I have traveled in all the metros in India, and now in Pune as well. We have two routes in Pune. So I make it a point to use metro and the local transport just to get a local understanding of the people over there. And last but not least, this is what we are doing as a firm. We are running a small training program, which is an online training, which talks about tourism, and especially for those who want to start their own business in tourism. It's a 10-day online program, and we have our batches running this month, starting from the 18th to the 27th. And I'm happy to share more details if you just WhatsApp me your name and number. This is my number. Sorry, on the screen, and you can certainly reach out to me, and I'll be able to share more about this program. And it's a little practical in the way this course is designed. You have to actually work and design tours and packages. That's how I believe in, so that you'll get, there's no theory. I will run away if there is a lot of theory in a classroom, but I believe in more in practical and hands-on working. So that's how this program is. And along with me is Sangeeta Kalaskar madam. And so this is it. This is from my side. I would like to thank Dr. Devyani and her entire team at WCII. This is a very interesting evening that I've had, listening to Rishi and listening to all the others as well, and how tourism and such an integral part of our life and enriches our lives. So thank you very much, ma'am, for this opportunity, and I'm looking forward to an interaction again with your team soon.
Pleasure is entirely ours. You've been, it was so beautiful, and what was most beautiful, I think, the way both connected and everyone. So if anyone has any questions for Mr. Soham, I'm sure he'll be very happy to answer. Otherwise, you already have his connection, so he'd be, I'm sure, very happy to give you all the answers if you write to him.
I'm just sharing my email ID and my number in the chat window, just in case if anybody has missed out.
Sir, Suraj Kalyankar here. So what are the opportunity of technology in rural tourism or in that area?
In rural tourism?
Rural and all over tourism. So how technology, we have 4G, fiber optics and all this, but how can technology can also play a big part in upcoming years?
So one is tourism has to be experienced firsthand. Like there's a lot of human connect involved in it. So if you are saying, I would rather put it the other way, I would want to run away from technology and experience tourism. But having said that, you would want to see more of technology being a part of tourism. It's already started. We've had organizations moving on to using technology in terms of making online reservations. They're using technology in terms of virtual tours also, which has taken up 360 tours, which are now started. And you can Google this. I could share some links also with you, wherein you can sit at home and do a virtual tour in the afternoon. If you get a little bored, you can see the entire monument virtually using technology, sitting in one place. In terms of rural tourism, it's still coming up. There is a lot of still a human factor which is involved in this particular aspect.
So you mean to say like metaverse, similar to?
It would take a while. Yes, metaverse is well. It's still, I believe in our country, it's at a very nascent stage. So metaverse and things like that for people would take a while to adapt and be okay with it. For me, tourism is more about slightly moving away from technology and connecting with humans, connecting with people around, and exploring diversity. So while I use technology in my field, I would want people to actually keep your technology aside and see the local flavor, culture, experience that, and come back. We normally end our emails in travel companies and come back with beautiful memories. This is what I look at. But certainly technology will play a very essential part. It will continue rather in any domain, irrespective of tourism or not.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So yeah, the fact that we've been here for, we've exceeded about half an hour. So it looks like that we've found something interesting here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
We have also put up a feedback form in the chat box. If you all are requested to please fill that up. It will help us to present you with diverse and interesting topics in the future. We also request all of you. Yeah, Mr. Soham.
Sorry. Before I leave, can I just quickly ask the participants to do one last thing, which is find an airport in the world which has a crossing, जैसे railway crossing होता है, wherein when the train comes, both the sides on the road are stopped, the traffic is stopped. There is an airport like this, wherein whenever the flight lands and takes off, the traffic is stopped. So I'll leave you all on that note. And I really had a very interesting session. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Okay, there's a message on the chat box, Soham ji. If anyone interested in B2B trekking and adventure camping business in Kolhapur, please mail us on kolhapurhikers@gmail.com.
Certainly, I've made a note of it, and I'm sure Sangeeta madam has also made a note of it.
Okay, great.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Soham and Ms. Sangeeta. That was a wonderful session which we had. We would like the people who are here to please check out on a web page to know about our upcoming programs and our activities. Our next webinar is going to be on the 23rd of April, and the topic is idea generation. We look forward to your support and participation. Thank you so much for taking time to join with us today evening, and we wish you all a very wonderful evening.